Time for another Israel update. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is there. You might notice it's a little dark here. It's because it's dark outside. I'm up a little early for it with you here.
That's great. That's great. Thanks, Mike. Lots to go over. Lots of things going on. A couple of people have said I haven't been smiling as much as I typically do in our Israel updates.
Yeah.
It's really hard when your country is in the midst of a horrific war.
Yeah.
Let's just, I'm getting a lot of notes from people, and it all basically comes down to, what are you guys waiting for? Roll the tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really incredibly simplistic approach to things.
Yeah.
Because Hamas has been preparing for this for years. We now know that. We know that they have, it's estimated, at several hundred kilometers of tunnels crisscrossing all of Gaza. We know they're prepared. We know that they have 500,000 liters of fuel stocked up. And they glorify death. So all they need to do is kill as many Israelis as possible, God forbid.
Yeah.
And then have enough quote unquote innocent Gazans, because I don't believe there is such a thing, killed in retaliatory strikes. And, then the Americans, European Union, and everyone else will step in. So we could go on, and I do encourage people to contact me, ask me for sources of things. Where is that? Like someone wrote to me just yesterday saying, who funds these quote unquote humanitarian aid shipments that have been coming into Gaza? And the answer for that is Qatar. It's not America. It's not the European Union. So, I can share information. I can point you in the direction of what's real and what's not. But again, I caution people really strongly not to rush with your crazy conspiracy theories.
Okay, you cut out there when you said who actually funds these. So could you give that again?
Qatar.
Qatar.
The country of Qatar.
Yeah.
They're the ones that fund this.
Yeah.
And one of the idiots in the Knesset made a reference today about how they're partners in humanity. They're not partners. They're allies of Hamas. And
I got a question for you regarding that. There seems to be no inspection of these trucks.
Allegedly, there are.
Yeah.
I haven't seen videos, and there's nothing in our sources that would indicate. There have got to be some kind of, or we would like to think that there was some kind of inspection/review. It's coming from Egypt. So your guess is as good as mine. But I want to quickly give people a sense of things. We in Israel are incredibly upbeat. We've spent the last number of Israel updates talking about all the volunteerism and things that people are doing. In fact, there are so many people that have tied tzitziot on our army green that the army is actually asking if there are places that they can give them away to, because our soldiers already have so many, which is really amazing. Mm-hmm. But 3 quick statistics. Based on polls, 74% of Israelis are confident that we will win this war. 98% are confident in Tzahal, in the Israel Defense Forces, and 35% are confident in Netanyahu and his government. So that tells you a whole range of things in a very, very brief period of
Yeah.
time. Again, we're not going into Netanyahu at this time. The issue is we are not, on the one hand, we're not losing anything by delaying the ground war.
True.
The ground war is very, very problematic. No one in the world has ever fought in an extensive series of tunnels like this. It then goes back to all those times when we were forced by the Americans and the European Union for humanitarian reasons to allow in cement and building materials, allegedly so people could rebuild their homes.
Yeah.
And they went into these tunnels. It appears, based on news reports, that they have hardwired the tunnels with telephone wires. So it makes it, Israel can't eavesdrop on cell phone conversations when cell phones are not being used.
Wow.
So talk about going back to old school technology.
Yeah. Let me break in here and go back to where
Sure.
you started, Honok, is to understand the level of evil. There was just a report, and I'm sure that you've seen this. You may have it in your notes, but a note was found on a Hamas terrorist, and the note, I'm going to get down here and quote. It says, "Know this: that the enemy of yours is the disease that has no cure." Other than beheading and extracting the hearts and livers, go attack them.
Yeah.
Yeah, people in the West, for the most part, don't understand. I don't think I can understand that kind of evil that exists here. And I get up every morning. One of the first things that I do is check the news to see what's going on in Israel and
Right.
if the ground forces have come in. Yeah, I'm with people. What's taking so long? I'm sure that in Israel, what's taking so long? What I do understand is that, at least I believe, that they are doing this properly. They're those in Gaza have not had any sleep in 2 weeks. That affects people. The preparations that they're doing to go in and do this. But at the same time, for those that would say, why don't they just roll the tanks? I ask a question. What if it's your son that's the tank commander
Well,
of the
I
first tank? What if it's
yeah,
your child that's still missing in the tunnels? It's
yeah,
easy for people that don't have any relationship in the game.
yeah. The idea that there are still 222 approximately
Yeah,
hostages, and the number keeps shifting
yeah,
up. And then was the disastrous press conference with one of the hostages, a woman in her 80s whose husband is still being held. And she was I mean, on the one hand, she talks about how she was beaten with a stick. Could you imagine beating an 80-some-odd-year-old woman with a stick? I mean, the level of evil, the only equivalent in the modern world are the Nazis. The Islamo-Nazis were unleashed. It's me, though, is the enormous support that they have amongst allegedly educated people in the United States and Europe,
yeah,
where you can be, a college student. So you're not necessarily ignorant. You're not incapable of learning, in theory at least, but you can glorify the massacre and mutilation of men, women, and children. The fact that children, babies were taken, I mean, the fact that the world is essentially quiet about that, the fact that the UN Secretary General states that this did not occur in a vacuum.
yeah.
I saw a great meme I'm not sure I'm going to share it, but it's the Twin Towers with the second plane about to hit. And it said 9/11 didn't occur in a vacuum.
Mm.
I mean, for our American listeners, that should resonate. It's an unbelievable thing. Now, what's my main point of today? My main point of today is I have grown to understand over the years that there's a reason that each and every one of us is here right now. And it doesn't take a genius or a scholar in Tanakh and Hebrew Bible to go back and think of Megillat Esther, the scroll of Esther. When Mordechai comes and says, the Jewish people are facing extinction. By the way, from whom? The Persians, Iran.
Iran. Yep.
Iran of today. And he quickly goes on to say to her, if you don't step forward, the salvation of the Jewish people is going to come regardless. I think he was being extremely nice to her. I have choicer words, particularly when every third day I'm sending a new Israel update to people, and someone responded back saying, thanks, but I haven't had the time to watch the other one yet. If you don't have 30 minutes to listen to this Israel update, stay out of my way. I, never having been gifted with very much patience, it is evaporated. The whole idea that people should be banging down our doors, ours, yours and mine, Mike. What else can I do to help? I don't want people simply to donate money, although that's great. I don't want people to simply pray. That's even better. I want people to be creative in their approaches to fundraise. I've said it before. Hit up all of your friends and relatives. Hey, I'm taking a collection for medics in Israel, volunteer medics, so they have, it costs $300 a first responders kit. There are so many things, so many ways that people could. I don't see enough people that interested in the history behind what's going on.
I'm pretty blessed for where I sit, Hanok, because last night I received a message from someone that is mailing $500. I appreciate all donations. I really appreciate those that mail it, because it does cost us on our end for credit card fees and all those things. Thanks to those who have helped support that. Said I was able to give $350. Got my mother to donate $125, and one of her friends to give $25. Said
the way
I'm
to do it.
wanting to send more in a little while, and hopefully I'll have more people who will also contribute to Israel.
That's the
Here's
way
a
to do it.
person that took their $500 or their money and went out and, hey, hammer on some people. I mean,
If
whatever.
literally, if not now, when?
Yeah.
The needs are extreme. Someone else wrote me and said, could you speak more about the evacuees from the South and the North? Very small news report that the government is looking to put up tent cities in and around Eilat and in and around Ramat Gan. Now, Some hotels have opened their doors, communities have opened their doors. Everyone is taking in evacuees as they can. It's serious. Now, these are people who are not coming with full supplies. It's not like when I came on Aliyah, when I moved to Israel, I basically shipped everything I had ever owned. This is not like that.
Yeah.
These people don't have towels. They don't have sundries. They don't have change of clothing. These people who fled. Now, if I find one more comment about SEAL Team 6 with boots on the ground, and this is 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, you got to be a real Facebook genius to know the whereabouts of America's most elite warriors. Like, no one in the world knows where they are, but someone on Facebook who had the time to put up a colored meme. I mean, when people insist to me, well, I know that there are, American troops and Navy personnel,
Yeah.
you know nothing. The other thing is very important. Just because you know someone in Israel doesn't mean that she or he knows diddly. Let me borrow a phrase from our dear mutual friend Rico Cortez. Everything that I say, verify. Verify. I never say to you, well, I know that this is happening. I'm reading and synthesizing news reports and bouncing them off people who know more about the inner workings of the IDF than I do.
On that note, let me just once again say that Israel 365 that's Israel 365. Is that the same as what used to be Breaking Israel News?
Yeah, or
Okay.
whichever came first, it's the same thing, same
Okay.
unit.
Okay. If you want to understand what Israel 365 News is, I invite you to go to Walmart. As you're walking up to the checkout counter, okay, the self-check. I know we all have numerous jobs at Walmart now. I'm a greeter. I'm also a checkout person. I'm also a bagger. The only thing that they have not told me that I have to do now is stock the store, which I'm waiting probably till next week, But when you're walking up to your self-checkout and you see the magazines on both sides there as you're being led into this thing, there should be one that says Israel 365 there. That is the type of reporting that they do. All right.
Yeah.
So this is not a reliable news source. And if the person that runs it wants to call me, I'll be glad to talk with him. I'm fine.
It's again, the news sources that I use in English are JPost, Jerusalem Post, ynetnews.com, which is an affiliate of an Israeli news agency, I-24 English, Times of Israel. The last one that I checked personally, Arutz Sheva, Israel National News. And out of that, and based on what I know, particularly also from Hebrew sources and in conversations with people, I'm able to synthesize an understanding of what's going on. However, in a situation of like, well, people say, is it America that's holding Israel back from the ground war? I don't think so, but you know what? I don't know definitively, and I can't prove it one way or the other.
No.
I can give you 6 or 7 factors that are involved, not the least of which is the fact that our prime minister, our crime minister, is known to be overly cautious. And he is no fool. He's a lot of other things, but he's no fool in the sense of knowing that this is his legacy that
Yeah.
he's dealing with.
Yeah.
The other thing is, and this was a demand of the Americans, we don't have an exit strategy yet from Gaza. Now, if any of our listeners are about to scream at the screen saying, take it back, my response, shut up. Israel is not going to what, in effect, even in our eyes, would be to, quote, reoccupy what is now 2.3 million Gazans. By the way, and this is something that's troubling me. Again, everyone knows I struggle with arithmetic. So when we left Gaza in 2005, there were 1.8 million people. Now there are 2.3 plus million people. I thought we were doing genocide. I thought we were ethnically cleansing it. Are these Jew haters in the world? And I got to tell you something. I've shared many times with you personally, Mike, as well as with many of our listeners. I grew up knowing that Jews were hated.
Yeah.
That was the neighborhood that I lived in. The glee that you see, even tearing down the kidnapped posters in England and through major American cities, the joy, let alone the erect middle finger that they give, is astounding. We're talking about children. And the world has no humanity. Believe me, we Jews recognized that a long time ago. But it is astounding to see and hear or not hear the silence of our friends. This is a time for people to speak out. Demand that the hostages, isn't it amazing? The Red Cross has not been clamoring to visit the hostages, not even the children.
The question, that came out on a meme yesterday was, there's no money for food or for water, but sure can find money for rockets.
It's close to, it's approaching, it's over 7,800. And I was working on on a few things. I'm, much to the fact that I didn't want to do this, I'm going back to blogging. Every man, woman, dog, and beast in the world has a blog.
Yeah, I know.
And I thought it was really kind of redundant. But I've got to do something. And then my phone kept pinging, 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 pinging. And yeah, you want it now. In my world, there's no humanitarian aid until the hostages are released.
No, none.
But and again, when America, when Blinken and Biden, and the White House press spokesperson, I forgot her name, but when she was asked about, is Biden concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism, she immediately spun it around that the concern is Islamophobia.
Yeah. But I don't know if you saw after that, she said that she misunderstood the question.
Yeah. I mean, we see all those demonstrations of Jews attacking Muslims in America. Not a single one.
Yeah.
It's the world has truly gone insane, and it's really up to people like our listeners, our friends. Many of them are our friends, to make their voices heard. The resounding silence of the people that we've all met at various conferences, various meetings, various prayer instances, their silence is deafening.
Yeah. But you know, Hanok, in the midst of it, the Almighty's silence is not deafening. He's speaking to those that want to hear. I woke up this morning to a post from a mutual friend on Facebook. You know, it's interesting. You know, as much as anybody does, that I follow the Torah portions not only just as something to read and teach on, but as far as world events. I encourage people to know what Torah portion they were born under. It's easy. You type in birthday Torah portion, it'll come up. Okay. You just got to know the date of your birth. And if you don't know that, ask your mama, or somebody, they'll be able to find out. It's usually that day that people give you gifts. Okay. Just, so when I do a wedding, when I officiate a wedding, I always use the Torah portion. And so last week, the Torah portion was about Noach, and the world was disintegrating into calamity and destruction, and it was filled with Hamas. Okay. Well, the post I saw this morning was interesting. As we read this week's Torah portion in Bereshit, Genesis, you might call it Genesis, probably. It talks about this king had served 12 years, and in 13th year they rebelled. And why in the world did they put the numbers here? Why do we need to know that stuff? In the 14th year, somebody whose name I can't pronounce, and the kings of him, why is this? Well, people that are smarter than I have figured out that Abram at the time was 75 years old. So we know, we look at the beginning. Abram was born in 1948 from creation. That should, if you don't know what that year is, type it into Google or your favorite search engine. It'll tell you some pretty interesting, significant event there, which means that Abram in the year 2023 was 75 years old.
Yeah, with the war of the kings. Yep.
When he defeated the War of the Kings over his nephew Lot. I think there's more to it there. I'm spending some time with that one myself. So, why is it that that they're waiting? Well, maybe there's a voice from the heavenly realm that some of the government, am I talking about Israel government or United States government? I'll let you decide. A voice from the heavenly realm that they're not used to listening to, that right now they're listening to, even though they may not even know it. Just my thought.
The low, just to fill people in on details, the low intensity conflict with Hezbollah continues. Hezbollah has been careful to do something like firing anti-tank missiles, firing a missile or two. Syria does the same. But they so that's that, it's I look forward to the day when I'm not grabbing my phone every 10 minutes.
Yeah. May it be soon. May it be soon.
But we've got a lot of work cut out for us, all of us. And believe it or not, this is the time. I know you're all going to think I'm nuts. This is the time you need to be saving for your Israel trips, plural. Now you can say, we'll date. Don't worry about the calendar. Leave your calendar up on the wall. Don't worry about it. Because without saving up, like without a passport, y'all ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Yep. good time to do that because, you know, and I know that we were wanting to have dates today. I'm working with the hotels. If I would imagine everybody understands the hotels, a tour in March, May of next year or September is not really their priority right at the moment, but we are working on it. And so as soon as
Absolutely.
we know, you know.
Way to go.
Got it. Be safe,
Anyway,
man.
be strong, be safe, be focused, and let's win.
You got it.
Amen. Take care, Mike.